Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is the benefits of leaving your wife sooner rather than later. I left my wife in 2007. Now it's 2020, so 13 years ago. And then after I left her, I started the divorce proceedings, a month or two later, and it took a few years to get the divorce done for a variety of reasons, mostly having to do with her. And then there was I had a lot of problems with her even after the divorce was final. I just contrast my life with a couple of my good friends who got divorced, and they got divorced sooner. As soon as they things started going bad in their marriage, they ended it. And kind of when their children were small, after they only been married not too long. So let's say financially it was a very, very good for them to leave early. Financially, they weren't making as much money. The kids, they hadn't been with her as long. There's a big benefit for you financially to get out early, sooner rather than later. Of course, I would get out now, so today is better than tomorrow for sooner rather than later. But let's just say financially it's much better for you if you would, the sooner you get out, the better when you're a younger man, or soon, a few years in. For me, I stuck around very long, so I had a very long marriage, like 14 years or so, and by that time I had 2 children, and they were still small when I left, but they weren't like babies. And yeah, if you leave when if your kids are babies, the logistical problems are going to be a nightmare. They're a nightmare when your kids are small, but if they're babies, yeah, they're going to be a nightmare. And I know that's probably why a lot of you guys don't want to leave your wife when your kids are small, because you feel for how so you're going to take the baby by yourself. It's hard enough with 2 parents taking care of a baby, let alone 1, right? But financially, you can't argue with it. But those guys, yeah, they recovered very, very well. They didn't give up so much of their money because they hadn't made it. The bulk of their money was made after the divorce. The bulk of my money was made prior to the divorce. You see the big difference? Financially, it makes more sense to do it sooner rather than later. But there is that child component, and sooner rather than later, it'll benefit you in other ways. It'll benefit you socially. So if you have a bad marriage, you're not really getting the things from your wife that you need. So if you leave your wife sooner, you'll be a younger man, and you can start to rebuild your dating life, your social life, your fun life, your adventure life earlier when you're younger man. The longer this goes, the harder it gets. But there again, sooner is today than tomorrow. So if you're in a bad marriage, start planning to leave now, because this is sooner. Don't say I'm going to wait 5 years. You know it's bad. If you know it's bad today, start the process of leaving today. If you have any kind of trouble with your wife, you should get my book, Leave Your Wife and Become a Happier Man with a 3-Step System, available on the ahappierman.com website. There's some links down in the description below to you can read about it there and see if this kind of thing makes sense for you. If you have any kind of a bad marriage at all, it really does. You'll be so much happier after you leave her. You won't believe it. But I will admit that leaving my wife was a messy, painful disaster. So as bad as being married to her was, leaving had enormous hardship, enormous problems. But the good part was that I could be away from her to start to heal. And that's what you really need. You can't heal when you're with her. You can't move on if you're with her. You can't have a good life if you're with her. It's impossible. I can guarantee you cannot have a good life if you're with a woman who isn't good for you. It's not possible. It's not possible. Sorry. So anyway, give that idea some thought. Leave your wife sooner rather than later. All for now.